Ladies and gentlemen, do you remember the endless banter and discussion and the daily articles on how Mueller was going to take down Trump? Do you remember that? So to all the naysayers, God bless you for watching this segment. Do you remember, though, that every single day on CNN and MSNBC, it was Trump worked with Russian intelligence operatives, the Kremlin, and Putin. He was installed, and the walls are closing in. They have him right where they want him, and nothing happened. Do you remember that? That was a special counsel. The Mueller probe was the epitome of a partisan special counsel. To media and a great many Democrats, it was nonpartisan, and it was just something we had to do because Jeff Sessions is a Republican. But I want to read you this quote from Andrew McCabe and explain a lot of things. The Durham probe is on its way eventually, very likely, to further indictments, potentially, Andrew McCabe. Now that doesn't sound so intriguing, but when you watch this full segment, you will realize that it is very realistic. Quote, "It's the relentless pursuit of these cases despite no factual results, right? Despite unproductive investigations." And look, that's been my own experience. I've been under investigation, this is Andrew McCabe talking, since January 2017, right? It's one investigation after another. "I guess if you count John Durham, then maybe I still am," he said. This was the other day. And now they're saying, oh, well, he went after reporters' phone records. President Obama's administration not only did that, but did worse, much worse. Utilized legal statutes that have rarely ever been leveled against journalists. And put a whole lot of people in prison for really like reporting or helping report on serious issues and stories. But I want to read you not only, okay, so how do you solve a problem like John Durham? That's below in the description section. But you can just look. Comey, I could be asked to testify against McCabe. Why would James Comey be asked to testify against McCabe? This is April 19, 2018. April 20th, 2018, NPR. That was a CNN. Comey, I could be asked to testify against McCabe. NPR, former FBI Director Comey could be witness against McCabe. Axios, James Comey could potentially testify against Andrew McCabe. USA Today, former Director James Comey to testify. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of articles talking about, I just gave you CNN and NPR, other articles talking about how James Comey himself, Washington Examiner, James Comey could potentially testify against Andrew McCabe. How James Comey himself offered or explained that maybe he could testify. Now, this is an article in the Washington Examiner. Below, DOJ's relentless pursuit has Andrew McCabe talking about John Durham by a brilliant journalist, Daniel Chayton, in the Washington Examiner, June 12th, 2021. It was yesterday evening, the Denver Gazette is also has this story up from the Washington Examiner article. This is a special counsel, ladies and gentlemen. You could say, oh, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to... Hit subscribe to this channel, by the way, and hit subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel. Link is below in the description section. We're almost at 182,000 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. And we're almost at 17,000 on my other channel. So that's below in the pinned comment. But this is a special counsel. It doesn't have... Its mandate is broad and all-encompassing. And it doesn't have an end date. It's only when John Durham decides that he either has enough political will, so it could possibly go into 2022, or it could end this summer. We don't know. But I just want to read you, the best way to prove my point is to read you an article, and the article will be below. The weak and risky case against Andrew McCabe. Is the president pushing prosecutors to file charges they can't make stick? Okay, so I want to read you this. September 20th, 2019. This is a legal affairs columnist who wrote this, and with all due respect, I disagree, and I will explain why. I like Politico. This journalist, this legal affairs columnist for Politico, is a wonderful journalist and legal scholar. I humbly and respectfully disagree. Here's why. I'm going to read you this article. If you've lasted this long in this segment, definitely keep watching, okay? The case federal prosecutors reportedly are making to bring against former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe for lying to his colleagues at the FBI is weak and likely to fail at trial. Well, why is that? Why would that be? Because there's probably other issues. There's probably more evidence, text messages, other people like Peter Strzok, who was kicked off of the Mueller probe for bias against Trump, and kicked out of the FBI for those same text messages. They want everyone to flip and sing against Trump, but nobody to flip and sing against people who have sold their soul against Trump. People who have sold their soul for the Democratic Party. But here, and if it does, the Department of Justice will be embarrassed again and struggling to answer why it brought the case in the first place. Now, this was before a special counsel. The special Durham probe special counsel is like an independent little mini Justice Department, a remnant of Trump's Justice Department that actually is even a lot better, million times better than Jeff Sessions, who was basically a Democrat, and William Barr, who did go to bat for Trump, but not as much as he should have. This isn't a case where someone suspected of wrongdoing lied to the FBI during an interrogation. Well, so McCabe was deputy director of the FBI and allegedly lied during an internal investigation of a leak related to the Hillary Clinton email investigation that put him in a positive light. Okay, you're not supposed to leak. It's against the law for FBI officials to leak information about ongoing investigations to any publication. The leak to the Wall Street Journal was not illegal. That's not true. And he had the power. I don't believe that's true. If it's legal to leak information in ongoing investigations, then why don't they ever answer questions during congressional inquiries? I can't answer. I'm under oath. It's an ongoing investigation. That's our protocol. But even let's say it's not legal, he still lied about it in the internal investigation. The leak to the Wall Street Journal was not illegal. And by the way, that email investigation was classified. The whole thing was classified. So they could simply, and what they've done before is retroactively classify information. But see, again, anyway, let's just assume it's not illegal. And he had the power to authorize a standard if unseemly Washington practice. But he allegedly lied to the FBI because then Director James Comey would not have approved of his disclosure. What? He lied because he thought Comey would prevent him from leaking the information? The whole thing was a cover-up anyway. The Clinton email probe was an absolute cover-up. James Comey, the only reason Comey wrote the Comey letter is because there was so much classified intelligence, top-secret data on private servers, and classified intel on Uma Abedin servers that Anthony Weiner was using for Lord knows what computer, that he had to, a week before, say, look, if you're going to become president, understand I have the goods. So that's why he wrote the Comey letter, because there was so much evidence out there that he wanted to cover his behind. Comey has the goods. Well, he had the goods on Clinton, but then he set up and fabricated Trump. So he definitely played both sides, both political sides. But anyway, the results of that investigation, as well as a separate internal investigation as to whether he lied, were released by the Justice Department. Because that report is public, we know that the prosecution will focus on 4 separate incidents. So 4 times the guy lied under oath. But collectively they add up to much less than President Trump's tweets would have people believe. Well, why? The whole point is that Trump was set up and framed. The Durham probe is not looking at only Kevin Kleinsmith's falsifying records or McCabe lying under oath numerous times. It's looking at a concerted effort to set up and frame an incoming president with information that should never have been utilized, like a dossier, with agents who show animus and disdain and contempt for Trump. One overarching challenge is prosecuting McCabe in his own story. McCabe is not a career criminal or the head of a violent street gang. Okay, but he went after an incoming president. He's a career FBI agent with no criminal history, and so were the FBI agents who were indicted and sent to prison who helped Whitey Bulger in Boston. What does that mean? And Durham was a part of that. He is a career FBI agent with no criminal history and a long career in public service who would argue that he would never intentionally lie because he knew the consequences. Well, he did intentionally lie. He already lost his job and his pension. Okay, There are also problems with the evidence against McCabe. The first time McCabe allegedly lied was during a one-on-one conversation with Comey that was not recorded or witnessed by anyone else. Excuse me, the Comey memo was utilized against Trump, and there was no witnesses there, and it was just a memo with no corroborating evidence, and that was utilized against Trump to start the Mueller probe. Michael Flynn's life has been upended just because he allegedly lied to Peter Strzok, who we know was kicked off the Mueller probe and the FBI for anti-Trump text messages. There was no evidence there. So I mean, all these people who allegedly lied had no evidence. It's always a dicey proposition to expect. So at the end of the day, the point is you have James Comey, and you have James Comey willing to testify against McCabe, and you have the overarching story of a whole bunch of FBI agents and others, Clapper, Brennan, others, working to oust an incoming president with a phony, fabricated, bogus scandal. Trump-Russia. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. The indictments could be in the future. Give me your thoughts. Thanks.